Hello, my name is Will Watt. I'm studying a Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in marketing and majoring in public relations and social media. My areas of interest are in branding, social media, and advertising. My two favorite classes so far at university have been brand management and social media. Now, ethics and corporate social responsibility is something that has been taught throughout my degree. At least half my classes have had a unit on ethical practice. My ethical perspective is mostly utilitarian with some deontological elements. I'd also consider virtue ethics to be involved in the mix, as deontology and utilitarianism are about quantitatively analyzing what should be a qualitative thing, and evolving virtues as a human element, which is the most important part when discussing ethics. I would state my ideology as to act in the best interests of the most amount of people, while avoiding any heavy tolls that these actions would have on those it would disadvantage. Robert Baden Powell said, "Leave this world a little better than you found it," and I believe that's the most anyone can hope to do. Corporate social responsibility is an organization taking it upon itself to self-regulate their actions above what is legally required of them. I believe every organization should engage in holistic corporate social responsibility, not just because of good PR, but because it is the obligation of every person to do good on this planet. I will be discussing how I would act in my career in the situations when working for a company that has an unethical track record or working within unethical marketing practices. An ethical dilemma I believe many marketing students will soon face is if they're offered a position at a company that does not have a good track record of ethical behavior. The issue coming from the highly competitive nature of the job market, whether a person would take that role despite the corporation's unethical history. The most important issue to me, and I believe many other people like me, is how the company has treated the environment. I would not work for a company that has a history of extreme egregious actions against the environment, Australia's biggest offenders being energy companies. I would not work for these companies unless my involvement was in a genuine effort to improve their social responsibility and not just as spin for good PR. There is a large middle ground, however, between the most unethical companies and the most ethical companies, and I believe that's where most people will find themselves facing this dilemma. If I was to work for a company in this middle ground that did not have a good track record of ethical behavior, I would at the very least try to implement some ethical protocols of my own, and if that's not possible, I would act as ethically as I can and hopefully encourage others in the organization to do so as well. Weighed against my ethical perspective, if my role can have a positive impact on the organization and the world as a whole, and it's not just a move for good PR, then I would consider that an ethical decision to work for a company that has a bad ethical background. Let's talk about marketing to children. Very recently, YouTube was fined $170 million by the US Federal Trade Commission for collecting information on children under 13 and then using this information to sell ads to them without parental permission. Studies have found that children do not have the cognitive function to recognize what is an advertisement, and I believe this is especially true in the trends of influencer marketing, which play on people's trust in order to sell products. Let's take an example of children's content on YouTube, Ryan's Toys Reviews. Now, I believe this started as a channel where it was just a kid having fun reviewing toys for his friends and family. However, now it has a staff of 25 people and is estimated to have made $22 million in 2018. Now, this channel's staff has followed the rules, and I don't believe they've acted maliciously. They disclose brand deals even though the audience might not understand what that is, and they don't really get a say in what ads are served to their audience, and they definitely don't get a say in how information collected from their videos is used. The issue comes from YouTube not only breaking laws, but acting extremely unethically, even advertising to Mattel as the leading destination for reaching children aged 6 to 11. A smaller, less entrenched organization would see this as an absolute death blow. YouTube should not have presented itself as a way to advertise to children, let alone illegally collect the information in the first place. How I would act differently in my career is obviously don't break the law. I'm sure the fines were just a fraction of the money YouTube gained from that action, and there will not be any real, tangible social repercussions. Other than not letting the situation arise in the first place, I would see the only action as to talk to my supervisors, express my concerns about the legality and the ethical issues involved in this, and then if no action is taken, I see the only option is to whistleblow. YouTube willingly engaged in illegal and unethical practices to make money. There was a clear societal negative, them taking information from children and then advertising to them with that information, and the only positive being the selfish monetary growth of their already monolithic organization. From my ethical perspective, it is extremely unethical and also extremely socially irresponsible, particularly due to the scope of the influence YouTube has over these children. That was my ethical perspective and how I would act in a socially responsible manner in my marketing career. Thank you.